Morning everyone. Well, it's a nice cold morning again. It's going to be a lovely day. Horses are waiting patiently on their hay and I better get myself organised. Hi everyone. I wanted to talk today about the aspect of fear with horses. I know horse riding accidents and things when a horse bites you or lunges at you or kicks you. It can really break a person's confidence down, and often people immediately blame the horse or say it's a bad horse, but they never really look at their own body reactions or their own thoughts and feelings prior to when something bad has happened. Also, sometimes people take for granted that their horses are just going to do everything they want them to do, and when the horse plays up, suddenly it's all the horse's fault. But like us, horses have good days, bad days, they're emotional at times. There could be a myriad of health issues going on that we just don't know about. There's a myriad of issues that you can face daily, actually, when you're dealing with horses. But they shouldn't cause you to fear your horse. And so later on in the video here, I actually discuss fear and how fear could impact your relationship with your horse, and also age, because I think there's a lot of ageism when it comes to horses, and people kind of think that once you hit a certain age level that you're too old to be around horses. Well, I'm in the 6th decade of my life, and I'm by no means too old for my horses, and I have a good relationship, but it didn't start out that way. So in the video I'll talk more about this. The horses didn't want to go into the side yard today, which is amazing. All they wanted was their hay. Don't know whether it's because it's been a cold morning, or they're just feeling lazy, they're still full from breakfast probably. Anyway, I'm surprised. I'm going to talk about the whole issue of ageism. A lot of the videos that you'll see online these days feature young people, and I've got nothing against young people. I've got adult children, I've got grandchildren, and I love watching everything they do. And actually, some of the channels that I particularly love are young people. There's a couple of young guys, Matt Haneker and Jesse Durant, or Drent, I think his name is, and I watch those boys all the time. I absolutely love them to pieces, and so they're one of my favourite channels. But in terms of age and ageism, I don't dress up when I get in front of the camera. The editing that I do is I never edit out anything that doesn't look perfect. What you see is what you get. Whether my hair is messy, whether I'm still in my pajamas, whether I'm just looking like a general wreck, because in reality, that's what daily life is like. You get up in the morning, you go out, you do your jobs. It doesn't matter whether you're 20, 50, or in your 60s like me. You've got work to be done, and horses have to be maintained. And that's just part of the life. I like doing the physical work. I think it keeps me fit. And I like being around my horses. I'm a great routinist, and it's just part of daily living. I don't have to dress up and have my hair perfect and my makeup on, and I know, look, for some people that's really important. But one of the beauties of getting older, physical appearance doesn't mean anything to in the same way that it may be due to someone in their 20s or 30s. Keeping up appearances has never been my thing anyway, personally. And for me, my videos are about the horses and my journey with the horses, and to promote, most of all, the Australian wild brumby, because as we all know, there's a dead set campaign against them, and the government and many activists want them absolutely exterminated off the face of this country, and I believe there's still a lot of reasons for them to stay in the country, on the landscape, but that's another discussion for another time. In terms of training my horses, you know, I do it at my own pace. I allow for the fact that I can't move as fast anymore as I used to when I was younger. I'm not as agile on my horses as I used to be when I was younger. But it doesn't stop me from doing whatever I can to bring out the best in my horses. So, look, years ago when I was growing up, it was all about riding skills and activities on horses. You know, nowadays it's about the horses themselves. So my focus has changed to wanting to understand my horses, to really wanting to build a strong relationship with my horses. And the benefits of that for me are this, is that a beautiful bond and friendship has developed between Bella, Billy and myself. There's a hell of a lot of trust associated with that. It's increased my safety. It's given me an outlet to express myself with. You know, there are so many benefits. So life doesn't stop just because you get older and you're not as agile or you're not as beautiful or you're not as high up the horse in the horse world ladder as you would like to be. It's never about self promotion, mate. For older people, usually that disappears and it becomes truly about the horse. And that's one of the beauties of growing older and spending time with your horses is you reflect more, and that's what I try to do in these videos, is reflect, think about what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, and what the horses mean to us. I also want to make it clear to people there's no such thing as perfection when it comes to horses. We all make mistakes. You know, to pretend that we've got it all together and that we know exactly what we're doing, no matter how many years of experience, or you know better than somebody else, it's just sheer arrogance. You know, we all are on a learning journey. And it doesn't matter if we're 1 year in or 40 years in. You never stop learning about horses or your own behaviour. Another benefit of being older is you have more common sense usually. You know, you're not as young people tend to be greater risk takers around horses and more apt to do things that an older person just wouldn't dare do. You know, and I'm not saying again, oh, look, you know, being older is better. But older you are, generally the wiser you are, and the more inclined you are to practice safe methods of handling horses. And there's nothing wrong with that, I can assure you. Less accidents, less trouble, less hospitalisations, you know. And so common sense and wisdom is usually a feature of older horse handlers. Hi everyone. Well, I don't know if you can see me, but you can see that these two are doing their usual morning messing around with each other. But anyway, I wanted to talk today about fear and horses, and how fear can have a huge impact on your relationship with horses. You've probably watched from my videos and seen and thought, well, Roz's horses are really easy, you know, and but that wasn't always the case. I mean, Bella here, when I first got her, she was extremely reactive and aggressive. So um, if I'd been fearful of her, it wouldn't have worked between us two, because, you know, she was such a big, strong, powerful mare and such a reactive mare. I had to use a lot of calm authority with her, never back off. With Bill, he was a wild brumby, but he was shut down, so it was a little bit easier actually with him, because he was so sick and so near death, he just didn't have any strength to resist me. But then as he started to get better, his wild brumby instincts came out actually, and then I had to deal with a minefield of issues. And I made the mistake of getting onto online horse discussion groups where people tried to crucify me for some of Billy's behaviours and made him out to be a bad horse.
And as you can see in the videos, if you watched any of them, Billy's far from being a bad horse. Billy's a brilliant horse with you know, a lot of character. But again, fear really can stop you from having a good relationship with your horses. Horses are always going to be horses. They're always going to be messing around with each other, which you see these two do on a regular basis. But if you notice, they're never after me. They're never trying to pin me or, you know, even if they rumble around me, they're still very cautious of my presence. And they learned to be that way when I was virtually blind, and I set barriers with them, but also because they love and respect me. And I know, again, people say, oh, horses can't love you. Well, actually they do. My two absolutely love me, and I love them back with a passion, and we have a very close bond. I treat them probably in an unorthodox way. For me, they're like overgrown puppies, and they can be a bit on the playful side at times, but there's no intent behind their play with me. No negative intent. Look, they might want love, cuddles, they mightn't always want to do what I ask them to do, and as you can see, most of the things that I do with my two is off lead. I don't use halters, and I will. Today I'm going to put a halter on Billy probably and do some bending exercises just to remind him, because eventually I'm going to get back on his back. And the only reason I haven't got back on as yet is I still have lower back issues, and I'm still trying to build up my leg muscles. I have Graves' disease and it does weaken me. And I need to be able to get off him safely. I also want to swap saddles. So there's a lot of things that need to be done before I get on his back, but in the meantime, I do lots of fun games with him and just teach him little things. And Bella, she's not always that keen to participate. But the other thing, really you two, the other thing that I do, which is probably unorthodox for a lot of people, whoever I'm training, and usually it's Billy, I never object to Bella being in with me. I don't chase her out. He chases her out when he's had enough because he gets jealous. But I'm actually happy to do my training with her in the ring, because it's a bit of monkey see, monkey do. When she sees him do something, she gets competitive and she wants to have a go as well. So it's a nice soft way to teach her. And on a final note, the other thing I wanted to discuss today was that regardless of how old you are, now I'm in the 6th decade of my life, so I'm not a young person. I've passed my 50s, you know, but you don't have to be an expert to be around horses. What you've got to do is practice safety, form a strong bond and relationship so that your horses respect you. Some horse breeds, as you know, are flighty than others. Bella is a second cross quarter horse with a bit of thoroughbred in the background there. Bill's a brumby, but both of them are generally fairly stable. Ignore the fighting that these two are doing. That's just squabbling. They do that every day. But you know, look, if I jumped and reacted every time these two have a squabble, will you stop it? You know, well, I'm never going to build a relationship with them, because they're just going to see me as a fearful person. And if you're a fearful person, or you're full of anxiety all the time when you're around your horses, they are not going to respond to you in the same way. Now, I'm not saying be presumptuous and foolhardy and ignore things. Like, you know, these two are fighting, but they're not fighting with me, they're fighting with each other over the hay bag. And so let's be clear, if I tell them stop it, they're going to stop it, because they know I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it. So also things like teaching them manners, food control, all that has to happen. But if you're frightened of your horse, they're not going to listen to you. They're not going to respect you. Now, on a final note, I also want to say that I've never hit these horses ever. I've never disciplined them using any sort of harsh methods. I will chase them off if they've been really naughty and back them off. But I've never ever used any kind of physical discipline, and I've never needed to. Even when Bella used to try and double barrel, the worst she ever got from me was squirted on the backside with the hose, because she doesn't like water, and she quickly learnt. So There are many methods and means to training the horses that are soft approaches that work just as effectively, if not more so, than using harsh techniques. I don't want my horses to fear me. I want them to come to me. I want them to enjoy being around me. And I want to have a mutual relationship with them. Right, Hetty Petty, I'm going in for my morning cup of tea, and I will speak to everybody soon. Well, I'll bring another video out later today, and when I do a little bit more training with the horses, because the weather is so lovely, it's a good time just to mess around with them a bit more. And when I say training, my training, as you've probably realised, is very unorthodox. I don't have a particular name for it. I integrate a lot of methods. I borrow from other disciplines and other types of animals. You know, you don't have to use formulas for everything, because formulas, while they work, are not always perfect. And so I do what I want to do with my horses. And as long as I'm achieving the results that I want for me, that's what's important. It's not about how other people look at me and go, oh, you know, you're such a good trainer, or you're such a lousy trainer. It doesn't matter to me. What matters to me is that my horses respond to me, and they do it in a positive way, and that no matter how fast or slow our progress is, it's about us. And I want to encourage anybody who's lacking in confidence, or like me is in the later decades of their life, to not give in, not to quit, to just think outside of the box and think about what it is you want with your horses. You know, even if you never want to ride your horses, and honestly, that's not a big issue for me. I don't care if I ride my horses or not. I have horses because I want them and I love them. And these horses are part of our family, so they're not under any obligation to have to perform for me. So the things that they do it for me because they want to, and they enjoy spending time with me. So, you know, whether you're in your 60s or 70s or even 80s, don't quit if you don't feel you're ready to. Just take your time and maybe think about a different approach, because you know, look, until I'm no longer capable of getting up out of my chair, I'm going to keep going and just enjoying the benefits of being around the horses, because truly they're a blessing to me, and I love this country lifestyle.